leading to a set of 3 diagnostic indicators, those retractable claws, that will always show up with this particular type of pathology, cross-generational coalition with a narcissistic borderline parent, and will show up in no other pathology. No other pathology in all of mental health will produce this set of 3 symptoms. The first one is attachment system suppression toward a normal range parent. The child is rejecting a normal range parent. It's really weird. Now we're in attachment pathology, and that says there's pathogenic parenting somewhere. Second symptom is a set of 5 narcissistic personality traits in the child's symptom display. The child is showing 5 specific narcissistic symptoms: grandiose judging of the parent, a sense of entitlement, the parent's supposed to meet my needs, an absence of empathy for the parent, haughty and arrogant attitude towards the parent, and a splitting, a demonization of the parent. I call these the psychological fingerprints of control on the child by a narcissistic parent. We cannot control a child without leaving fingerprints of that control. And so that second symptom are the fingerprints. How does a child acquire narcissistic personality traits? Is that child narcissistic? No. It's because the parent is narcissistic, influencing the child, and it's the child is picking up the attitudes of this parent towards the other parent, the absence of empathy towards the other spouse, the haughty and arrogant attitude towards the other spouse. So that's the second symptom. Third symptom is that victimization symptom, that trauma reenactment, false one. That the child has a fixed and false belief that they are being victimized by the normal range parenting of the targeted parent. That it's abusive. I'm being victimized because my dad took my iPhone away. And it's a fixed and false belief. In psychology, a fixed and false belief is a delusion. And the belief that you are being victimized is a persecutory delusion. That it affects only one area of the child's life is called an encapsulated persecutory delusion. The child is showing an encapsulated persecutory delusion. Where is that child getting that from? The narcissistic borderline parent, who believes this false narrative of victimized child. And so the child is acquiring this encapsulated persecutory delusion from the other parent. So we are essentially lifting the fingerprints of the pathogenic parenting from off of the child's symptom display. No other pathology, even authentic child abuse, will not show this set of symptoms. Child doesn't have a haughty and arrogant attitude towards their abuser. They don't have a sense of entitlement towards their abuser. No, authentic child abuse doesn't show these sets of symptoms. So we have 3 symptoms. We'll always define it. When you have a child who is this pathogenic parenting, pathopathology, genesis, creation. So a parent who is creating pathology in the child, they are creating developmental pathology, suppression of normal range attachment, bonding motivations where the child's losing a parent. Narcissistic personality traits, they are creating a personality disorder in their child, and a psychiatric delusion in the child. When you have a parent creating that level of pathology in the child, the DSM-5 diagnosis for that is V995.51 child psychological abuse. And so right now in my practice, if I get this, that's the diagnosis, child psychological abuse. That's what I'm advocating that all mental health professionals start to use, child psychological abuse, and to assess along these lines. I have little booklets that describe the assessment process and how you assess for retractable claws and whether it goes meow or bark. It's essentially about a 6-session assessment. One session each with each of the parents. You begin to develop the symptoms. A session with the targeted parent and the child where you get to see it displayed before you. And then a session with each of the parents again to check their schemas and their patterns based on all of that. In about 6 sessions you can say, 8 if it's really complicated, you can tell whether or not it's a cat or a dog. Because it's very focused. I'm just looking at, is this pathogenic parenting by a narcissistic borderline parent? So I try to keep out these other booklets brief so that they don't have so that they're accessible. Foundations is the one that describes all the information.